inviting you all to this first Fluorosis Research and Referral Laboratory National Workshop, which is conducted under the aegis of Department of Biochemistry, Sri Devaraj Medical College, Tamaka, Kolar. I now welcome Dr. Shashidhar KN, Professor and Head of the Department of Biochemistry, Sri Devaraj Medical College, to deliver the keynote address and welcome this August gathering for the first FRRL, that is Fluorosis Research and the Referral Laboratory National Workshop. Over to sir, please. Sir.
A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to one and all who have joined us for today's webinar. So this workshop, I hope at the end of this workshop, so it will be very much useful for the people who are into the fluorosis research. As we all know that India is an agrarian country with 60% of its land used for agriculture, and as the economy grows, the farmers are expected to feed a growing population as well as continue to increase the exports. As Mahatma Gandhi has said, farmers are the backbone of the India. Over the years, there is an increase in the need for water for irrigation, and in the absence of the stringent regulations, the freshwater resources have been overexploited across the country. As we all know that year on year, the water table across the country is going down. This has created a lot of health issues as well as agricultural production issues and so many other things. This has got an impact even on the bovine life and also on various other floriculture, horticulture and various other agricultural modalities. This has paved way for the fluorosis, an underappreciated and sometimes debilitating disease. High levels of fluoride from the food and contaminated groundwater are putting many people in India at risk of fluorosis. According to the Fluoride Knowledge and Action Network, the FAN Club, for a problem of this scale, the response has still been very patchy at the national level. Fluoride also contaminates aquifers across the country because it dissolves easily in water. Fluoride consumption occurs through myriad sources and pervades human life. The Kolar, the land of silk, milk and gold, once it was documented and it has been appreciated as the land of silk, milk and gold, is also known for its mining and agrarian sectors. All these factors predispose for overexploitation of water, percolation of fluoride from the rocks into the water and soil. The Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab, which we have established under the aegis of the Department of Biochemistry, takes this opportunity to invite you on occasion of the first Fluorosis Research and Referral Laboratory Workshop under the able patronage of Sri Devaraj Academy of Higher Education and Research, our trustees, our academy officers, and as well as our team. The team of FRRL includes myself, Dr. Shashidhar KN, Dr. Dina Mendes, Dr. Sai Deepika, Dr. Muni Lakshmi, Mrs. Indumati, Dr. Soumya, and last but not the least, our very much devoted person, Dr. Harish R. The fluoride estimation is the need of the hour. This workshop aims to address the long-standing caveat in Kolar district regarding training basic techniques in fluoride estimation using ion selective ion. Thus, this exposure shall help those who would like to immediately translate their know-how gained in commissioning their equipment at their respective organizations for both research startups and initial investigative purposes. The FRRL has conducted many studies till date exploring fluorosis and its linked disorders. For our part, what we can assure you is that we are working towards collaborating with partnerships across the many environmental agencies, statutory bodies, across the department, as well as the interagency community to build on our efforts to societal commitment of One Health in a local community focused manner. I welcome you all for this workshop and hope this session shall be informative and insightful. Thank you, and I welcome you all once again for this webinar workshop with respect to estimation of fluoride by ion selective electrode. Thank you one and all. I hand over to Dr. Harish. Over to Dr. Harish.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome speech. Now I request Dr. Sister K.N. sir to deliver the keynote address to set the preamble for this workshop. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Harish. To give a preamble about our Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab, the initiative that we have taken with respect to the fluoride research and referral lab, the choler, which is endemic for the fluorosis, of late we have started observing that many of the people across this local population had suffered from the skeletal fluorosis. In addition to the skeletal fluorosis, there were many people who had, other than the skeletal, that is non-skeletal fluorosis was also one of the things that we had come across in this local population. The literature search that we have made with respect to the fluorosis and its impact on other organs and various other endocrine system and other things has helped us to think of taking this fluoride as one of the prime molecule with respect to this population. So this has created interest in us, and in the year 2007, we have taken the initiation, and later on, it took us 10 years for us to do the groundwork, and we established the Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab. Then we had applied for the identification of the Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab as the Center of Excellence, depending on the contribution that the FRRL team has done with respect to the local population, as well as the adjoining states of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. So we started with the baby steps of procuring the fluoride ion selective electrode, the centrifuge, and various other basic requirements which are required for the establishment of the fluoride research and referral lab. So with this, then we started with preparing the registry of all the people, study subjects who have registered for, who have come across these things. And we have started working out with the clinicians of our institution as well as the community health workers, and we have started this initiation of taking this fluoride. The then administrators of our academy were very kind enough in hand-holding us, and let me not mention the names of those people, but I wish to give the names of those people who have helped us in hand-holding in the initial stages. The primemost people who have helped us in taking the research of fluoride further includes Dr. S. Kumar, the then Chancellor of our Academy, Dr. A.V.M. Kutty sir, who was our registrar and who is supposed to be my teacher during my undergraduate days and hardcore researcher, I can say, and also the various people like Dr. Pradeep Kumarji, the Vice Chancellor, the former Vice Chancellor of our Academy, Dr. K.N.V. Prasad, the former Registrar of our Academy, the present Dean, Dr. Sriramulu. These are the people who have helped us. In addition to this, the clinicians, Dr. Ravish was one of the person who stood with us. Dr. Sheila, the obstetrics and gynecology HOD, the then HOD, was also one among them who joined hands with us to take the lead in establishing the Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab. So with this preamble, how we initiated, so we have got more than 4 PhDs awarded with respect to the fluorosis research, more than 15 dissertations we have published with respect to the fluorosis research. We have got more than 15 publications published in Scopus, PubMed and Web of Science with a good impact factor journals, and we have taken community health services, we have taken consultancy with respect to this, we have taken a lot of community related activities, and also we have done even a clinical trial with respect to this fluoride research with respect to the local population as well as the adjoining parts of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. So with this preamble, I wish to start my presentation, that is estimation of fluoride by ion selective electrode. To say a few things about the fluoride estimation, an electrode specific to the ion dissolved in the unknown solution is called as the ion selective electrode, and as we all know that this is specific for the specific ion. Shortly it has been abbreviated as ISE. As we all know that there are specific ion electrodes. It may be with respect to the magnesium, it may be with respect to the calcium, it may be with respect to the fluoride or various other things. So this is the principal instrument that we have used, that is the ion selective electrode, because this is very much specific and sensitive for the ion, the fluoride. The basic principle behind this ion selective electrode is the potential difference developed on the membrane separating two different solutions is measured by the galvanometer. So this instrument, the galvanometer, plays a critical role in the estimation of the ion, the fluoride. The measured current is equal to the concentration of a particular ion. To say a few things about the fluoride, the periodic table of the elements shows that the fluoride occupies the ninth position with an atomic number of 9 and an atomic weight of 18.998, which is almost near to the 19. And the symbol is abbreviated as F with a superscript negative sign, and electron configuration it has been shown here, and it exists as a fluorine gas with respect to the nature. So this is with respect to the fluoride, a brief introduction of the fluoride regarding its atomic number, atomic weight, and various other things, the symbol and other things. And this is the picture that shows the ion selective electrode, where the constituents of the ion selective electrodes includes the internal electrode with a sensing element, the external electrode with a filling solution. The sources of the fluoride includes the fluoride standards, the water samples, and the biological samples. We have not restricted ourselves the research towards the serum or the plasma or the urine sample. We have extended even towards the estimation of fluoride in the soil with respect to the water from the source, the borewell waters, as well as the drinking waters, the water that is regularly used for cooking, the washing of the utensils and so many other things, and also washing of the cows and other things, the water that is fed to the cows, sheep, all those things we have started estimating these things, and even the milk fluoride also we have estimated, the soil fluoride, the vegetables, the fruits, and various other things also we have taken into consideration with the by estimating the fluoride in these samples. So this is the front view of our Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab. So you can see here. So this is the Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab with the Orion Star A214 fluoride ion selective electrode meter that we are processing with respect to our laboratory. And this is the TISOB 1, 2, 3, and 4 buffer and reagents that we are using. And we have started with the aims and objectives with a vision statement of the Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab with a short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. And we have almost achieved the short-term goals, and we have proposed the new short-term goals, and the mid-term goals, half the way we have achieved it, and long-term goals also half the way we have achieved it, and we are progressing through it. The roadmap ahead is to extend our fluoride research with respect to the various populations, and also the ill effect that has been caused to make an clinical trial with respect to these things to overcome the ill effects by taking into consideration the natural resources that is available with respect to the local population. It may be the vegetables, or it may be the fruits, or it may be various other things, or even the filters at the household regular items that they are using. So this is the basic thing that the roadmap ahead with respect to our Fluorosis Research and Referral Lab. The buffers that we are using is the total ionic strength adjusting buffer, which is a major component of the TSAB. So shortly we will be abbreviating it as TSAB, which is nothing but the total ionic strength adjusting buffer, which includes the CDTA to avoid the interferences of the aluminum up to 3 ppm in samples, sodium acetate and acetic acid, which maintains the acidic pH, sodium chloride, which maintains the pH. The various types of TSAB includes the TSAB 1, TSAB 2, TSAB 3 and TSAB 4. Based on the sample pH, the TSAB type is selected. Since in environment, fluoride ion is freely available in pH ranging from 5.5 to 5.5, TSAB maintains same pH as required. The fluoride analysis in the mill, for which we will be using the TSAB 1 and 3, and the pH of the milk, as we all know, it is slightly acidic, that is around 6.5 to 6.7. So we have to adjust the pH to 5.3 by using the TSAB 3. The sample preparation includes the buffer, that is the TSAB 3 of 1 part, and the milk sample of 9 parts. Next slide, Amma. The fluoride analysis in soil and vegetables, the TSAB 4, the soil pH is around 4 to 4.8. As we all know that it is due to the contamination with the fertilizers used to grow the vegetables and fruits, particularly in this local area where the Kola district is popularly known for growing of vegetables, multi-vegetables, I can say, particularly the tomatoes, the potato, the cabbage, all these things, for which there is a lot of insecticides and pesticides are used for these things, and due to the environmental variations that is going to happen here, and various threats that we have with respect to the watering and other things, and we will be using a lot of pesticides as well as the fertilizers to grow these vegetables. So hence we have to adjust the pH to 5.5, and for which the sample preparation we need to use is the buffer of 1:1. The fluoride analysis of water, for which we are using TSAB 2, where the community health services that we have taken with respect to the source, that is from the borewell, the source that comes out of the earth, that is the source that we have taken, and across the pipes it goes and it reaches to the person who is utilizing it. There, from the end source also we have taken the water sample, and also the water filter that it enters the RO system. So that also we have taken, and the wastage, the brackish water that comes out of the RO filters also we have estimated, and the water that is consumed by the person also we have estimated, and the direct borewell water which is used for washing the cattle as well as the utensils for regular use of taking bath and other things also we have taken, and we have estimated, and we have got a very significant difference between the fluoride with respect to these things. And further ahead with respect to these things, we have started educating the people to start using the natural resources such as the jaggery, or it may be tamarind, or the drumstick leaves, and so many other things, and we have got a very good results with respect to these things. So still it is in the pipeline and progress. Once the results are documented and it has been published, then I can declare it publicly, the results of using these things with respect to the fluoride estimation. And even we have estimated the fluoride with respect to the animal model by using the albino rats, where we have estimated the fluoride estimation with respect to the brain tissue and various other tissues, and we have got a very significant value And even with respect to the children, we have started estimating their fluoride levels with respect to the, particularly the government schools we have taken, and we have taken 3 schools together. One is from the east of the Kolar district, that is from the Mulbagal, and another from the south part of the Kolar district, that is from the Bangarbet, as well as the central part of the Kolar district. We have taken the urine samples, we have collected, and we have estimated the fluoride, and we have seen that there is a significant difference, and there is a lot of correlation between the intelligent quotient of the children with respect to the fluoride levels in their serum sample. So there is a lot of impact of the fluoride with respect to these things. The fluoride analysis in the biological samples, we need to use the TSAP2 with a pH of the human serum between 7.35 to 7.45, the pH of the human urine around 4.5 to 8, pH of the other samples such as animal tissue, supernatant, cellular supernatant, animal serum, etc., 4.35 to 6.8, with an adjusted pH of 5.3 to 5.6, and the sample preparation for which we need a buffer of 1:1. There is buffer of 1 with a sample of 1. The principle of fluoride ion selective electrode, as I mentioned, it is a sensing element or fluoride membrane with an internal electrode which is made up of lanthanum fluoride bored with europium fluoride, forms perforations in crystal lattice. The picture that has been shown here is nothing but the ion selective electrode of the fluoride, which we are using from the Thermo Scientific. The filling solution, the external electrode constituting of silver chloride or the potassium chloride compensates the fluoride passage by maintaining the equilibrium of anions during the reaction. The filling solution conductivity of the fluoride ions is read on voltmeter through silver wire connected to the galvanometer. The important thing that I wish to mention here is if you take any of the bottled water, the so-called the mineral water, which has been marketed in the across the community, there will be a caption that is added minerals has been added to this one. The very purpose of the formulation or the government mandate which has been made to use this caption of added minerals that has been added is for the purpose that whenever we are using this ion selective electrode for estimation of these things, like ions also are going to get estimated. To prevent these things, we need to separate it by selecting the ion selective membrane. Once we separate it by using the membrane, then we get the exact concentration of the fluoride that we are going to estimate. But the same thing also happens with respect to the RO filters that we are using, where the RO filter, in addition to the fluoride, the ions which are required for the regular activity of the enzymes are also gets filtered out, so that the enzyme activity of the various ions which are having the similarities of the fluoride also gets filtered out, and which has got an impact on the body. To prevent this, so added minerals are added to maintain the other mineral concentrations of the bottled water. So this has been made by the governmental policy, and further we are also giving ideas to the government to start implementing those things, and these things are also in the process of taking it further with respect to the governmental agencies. The reagents required for the fluoride analysis includes the various standards of the TSAP, which is measured with respect to the parts per million, that is ppm, which is equivalent to 1 milligram per deciliter. So 1 ppm standard with TSAP2, 10 ppm standard, 100 ppm fluoride standard, so that these three concentrations will help us estimating the fluoride levels by deriving it by using the standard graph. The TSAP2 filling solution and the measuring cups are also required, and the quantity and other catalog numbers are mentioned here with. The procedure: removing the shipping safety cap on sensing element and connect electrode to electrode socket behind the meter, lift flip spout on the filling solution bottle to a vertical position, insert spout into filling hole of the electrode, invert electrode to moisten top O ring of the ion selective electrode. Hold the electrode body with one hand and use thumb to push down electrode cap to allow a few drops of filling solution to drain out, which Dr. Sai Deepika, my next resource person, will be speaking about these things and will give a demonstration of how to do these things. However, to give a brief introduction about these things, I am just touching upon these things. by saying that release electrode cap, check if O-ring is moist, and repeat steps 2 to 4 until the sleeve returns to original position. Add filling solution to electrode up to filling hole, turn on power supply and the meter. The preparation of the fluoride standards includes, for example, the 10 ppm standard, add equal quantities of distilled water, 100 ppm fluoride standard and TSAP2 in a plastic beaker, mix well. We should be very careful when we are using these beakers, because if we wash the beaker with water, we should make sure that the fluoride that is there in the water should not get coated to the walls of the beaker. So we should take utmost care when we are using these things. Defluoridated water is one that we need to use for cleaning of these gadgets, whatever we are using here. To prepare 1 ppm standard, add equal quantities of the distilled water, prepare at a 10 ppm fluoride standard and dissolve 2 in a plastic beaker, mix well. To prepare 0.1 ppm of the fluoride standard, we need to add equal quantities of the distilled water, prepared 1 ppm fluoride standard and dissolve 2 in a plastic beaker, mix well. Measuring the fluoride standards and samples includes each standard of the fluoride from lower to higher concentration, that is from 0.1 ppm, 10 ppm and 100 ppm, and we need to set the standard in the ion selective electrode. There is ion meter, record resulting slope value, and the slope value to be set between -54 to -60 millivolts. This is one of the critical things where we should be very careful when we are setting these things. Any alteration in the in adjusting the slope will alter the values. So we should be very careful, doubly careful when we are adjusting the slope set value. For 10 ml water or urine, which is to be tested in a plastic beaker of 50 ml and add 10 ml TSAP2 buffer, we need to mix well. And for 2 ml of the serum or tissue supernatant or the cell lysate, add 2 ml TSAP2 buffer, we need to mix well, and we need to take the reading of the fluoride content. And please be careful when you are rinsing the electrode, rinse the electrode with the distilled water after each reading, which should be a defluoridated water. Then once the estimation has been done, we need to disassemble the electrode, tip of the electrode, tip electrode. So filling solution moistens the O-ring on the electrode body. Hold electrode body with one hand and use your thumb to push down. In a reversal fashion, we need to do it to push down on electrode cap to drain the chamber, unscrew the cap counter clockwise and then slide cap and spring up cable. Hold outer sleeve with one hand and firmly push down on threaded portion with the thumb and forefinger to separate inner body from sleeve. Grasp the cone with a clean lint free tissue and withdraw body from sleeve using a gentle twisting motion. Rinse outside of the electrode body and entire sleeve with the distilled water. Allow to air if needed, dry air if needed. And finally, before conclusion, I wish to say a few things. The points to be remembered with respect to the ion selector electrode and fluoride estimation is rinse electrode with defluoridated water, which repeatedly I have been telling from my beginning of my talk, that before and after estimation of each sample, use only soft tissue paper to wipe sensing element, wait for stable ready value display, slope to be maintained between -50 to -64 millivolt. This is a very critical step with respect to the fluoride estimation. Keep in check the level of the filling solution, that is silver chloride or potassium chloride, and just below the filling hole, keep the electrode dipped in TSAP buffer without fluoride if not used or not disassembled. So with this brief introduction about the fluoride estimation and how we are estimating the fluoride in various biological samples as well as non-biological samples, I thank the organizing team, Dr. Harish, Dr. Sai Deepika, Indumati, and Dr. Munilakshmi, and Dr. Soumya for giving me an opportunity to say a few things about the fluoride estimation. Thank you one and all. Over to Dr. Harish.
Thank you, sir, for inspiring enthusiasm in all of us for the community and extension activities pertaining to fluorosis and its linked disorders, and setting the basic tone and tenor for today's workshop. I now welcome Dr. Sai Deepika R., Senior Resident, Department of Biochemistry, and Ms. Indumati A.N., Research Assistant of Department of Biochemistry, for the interactive session on the workshop for fluoride estimation in biological specimens. Over to Dr. Sai Deepika Madam and Ms. Indumati. Over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, one and all. At the onset, I would wish you all a happy Holi and happy Women's Day to those women attending this online workshop of FRRL. Let us start, as Sir told, the theoretical aspects of using and estimation of fluoride by IAC was done. Let us move on to the workshop. If any doubts, you can stop me and ask the clarifications. Yeah, this is the fluoride IAC, and we are going to remove the cap, safety cap given to avoid the damage of the sensing element. Once the cap is removed, flip the spout of the filling solution. As said, the filling solution, the spout is then into the filling hole. We are going to fill the filling solution till the filling hole. Once you have filled the internal chamber and the filling chamber with the filling solution, you need to invert. So that now to moisten the cone of the electrode, you need to gently press down the cap so that the whole electrode is moistened until the cone. Once the moisture is seen, again flip the spout of the filling solution and then fill the filling chamber with filling solution up till the filling hole, not to overflow that. Once done, invert the electrode so as to wet the O-ring. I'm showing you the O-ring below the cap and the spring. Once that is wet, you need to fix it to the slot given in the arm of the IAC, that is meter, fluoride meter. That is the arm, this is the fluoride meter. Once set, you turn on the adapter. After turning on, you can plug the IAC to the socket given behind the fluoride meter. Once locked, you need to turn on the meter. The first long press will be to turn on the meter, and the second press will be to turn on the light in the meter. Yes, here you go. Now the meter is all set. Now the meter is installed. We are going to the standardization and calibration procedure of fluoride ISC. First, we are going to rinse with defluoridated water, that is double distilled water, gently without affecting the sleeve as well as the delicate sensing membrane. The soft tissue paper is taken and just tap the sensing element at the end of the electrode. Once tapped, the meter will show you a 0 reading. It means the water droplets or the sensing element is clean and is dried. Once the meter reading is set to 0, now you can move on to the standard, that is 1 ppm fluoride standard with TISAP 2. In our institute, we are using TISAP 2 because it is universal to most of the fluoride estimations. The meter reading is 0 and we are dipping the electrode into the 1 ppm fluoride standard with TISAP 2. Just a dip of 1 centimeter is sufficient to analyze the fluoride in the sample. Now the reading in the meter is showing stabilizing. The word stabilizing should be stopped at ready. The moment you see ready, the reading what you get is the concentration of fluoride in the solution. So let us wait for the reading to get ready. I have stabilized. The meter can store the readings and it can also print the readings for future references. All the temperatures are readily set at the reading at the meter, and the units of measurement will also be displayed in the meter. You have facility of using AA batteries, 4 AA batteries in case of power shutdown. It can back up with the values or the process of. Now you can see the ready at 0.82. So the reading tells it is 0.82. The value can be plus or minus 0.2 of the original value. It means either 0.8 from 0.8 to 1.2 ppm can be considered for this standard. Though the value is right, with the same standard, we will move on to the calibration of the standard, the procedure of calibration if required. The millivolts, what is shown here is the millivolts for the particular standard, not for the slope. Now we'll move on to the calibration of the standards. This is 1 ppm. The next standard we'll move is the 10 ppm with the TISAP 2 buffer. Yes. So accept the edited value. Now press on Cal done. Once the calibration is done, the first sample will be of 1 ppm and the second sample will be of 10 ppm. Again, we are going to measure the calibration. So once the stabilizing word stops blinking and converts to ready, you need to note the value at that point. Let us wait for the stable reading. It is still stabilizing. It is ready and it is 10.3. As I said, 0.1, 0.2 is acceptable. Plus or minus 0.2 or 3 is acceptable. Once ready, we are going to remove the standard. Again, rinse the electrode with lint-free tissue paper. And we are going to use the defluoridator, that is double distilled water. Be careful with the sensing element while tapping dry the sensing element with the tissue paper. Wait for the value on the meter to be 0 so that it ensures the dryness in the sensing element. After this, let us move on to the measurement of fluoride in the biological sample and water. We are going to take a water sample, that is RO water sample from our institute. Since it is water, we can get an ample amount of quantity of water to be estimated, and therefore I am taking 5 ml of water sample in a measuring cup. So we are going to adjust the tip to 1000 microliters, that is 1 ml. So I'm going to pipette out 5 times 1 ml of water into the measuring cups we have taken. So the electrode shall be easily dipped with a less quantity of sample. After adding 5 ml of water, now comes the role of the plain TSAB2 buffer. The TSAB2 buffer, we get it in 3.79 liters, that is 1 gallon quantity, not less than that. And the big can shown here is the TSAB2. Yeah. Any doubts can be clarified? Okay. Over to Hari, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So following this informative and insightful session, now I would like to thank you, madam. I take this opportunity to propose the vote of thanks on behalf of Department of Biochemistry, Sri Devaraj Medical College. First and foremost, we salute our late founder president, Sri R.L. Jalapaji, who continues to be a beacon of light. And we would like to thank the patronage of Sri Devaraj Education Trust, our respected president and honorable chancellor, Sri G.H. Nagaraja sir, respected honorable vice president, Sri Rajendra J. sir, respected secretary, Sri Hanumantraju K.G. sir, in charge honorable vice chancellor and respected registrar, Dr. Divyal Prasad sir, dean faculty medicine and our beloved principal, Dr. Sriramulu P.N. sir, and respected medical superintendent, Dr. Krishnappa J. sir, and deputy MS, Dr. Dinesh K. sir. And I would like to thank Dr. Shashidhar K.N. sir, Vice Principal and Professor, Head of the Department of Biochemistry, for his continuous support and encouragement and his endeavors in establishing the FRRL as a center of excellence in Devaraj Medical College. And I also extend my thanks to the officers of the academy, and I would also like to thank the resource team comprising of Dr. R. Sai Deepika madam and Ms. Indumati A.N. Thank you, madam. And I would like to thank all the faculty members and stakeholders of Sri Devaraj Academy of Higher Education and Research for their enthusiastic participation. And I would also like to thank the external delegates and the other participants for their contribution to this event. Last but not the least, I also thank the non-teaching staff and the technical team who are part of this program. Thank you one and all. And before we call the closure of the session, I request all to please turn on the cameras so that we can capture the screenshot of all the participants. Thank you, Anand. The feedback forms shall be shared to all the registered participants, and the certificates shall be auto-generated once the feedback form is filled. Thank you. Thank you, Anand. Now I call this session closed. Thank you. The YouTube link for this webinar shall be shared to all the registered participants and also shared across in the groups for the benefit of those who are unable to attend the session. Thank you. Thank you, Anand.